telling you. Get on the jet to Tokyo and ask the chairman. I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me.
Okay.
12 underappreciated, insane movie villains who made movies awesome. The true heroics of a hero come alive only with a worthy opponent. Hence, it doesn't require much brilliance to understand that villains are an integral part of entertaining cinema. Often the filmmakers spend as much time crafting the villain's role as they do for the lead character. Without the sinister, evil villain, the package seems to fall flat. And this has led to some iconic villains in the film industry over the years. We have loved their unpredictability, the dangers they bring with them, and the excitement of an evil character wreaking havoc that poses enough challenge for the hero. In this video, we have assembled some of the most badass yet underrated villains, without whom the movies would have been incomplete. Put your moral soul to rest for a bit and enjoy this video.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Good morning, gentlemen. Is there a problem?
Yes, officer. As a matter of fact, there is a problem. Apparently, there are too many bullets in this gun.
MILO, the last Boy Scout. Taylor Negron, a burned-out detective, Joe Hollenbeck, is hired to protect a stripper named Corey, who was a witness in an important case. However, he fails as she is murdered during a drive-by shooting. This prompts Joe to team up with Corey's boyfriend, Jimmy Dix, who is an ex-LA Stallions quarterback player. In the course of their investigation, they uncover a big plot that involves a pro football team and a politician. If you think of a villain good enough to take on the mighty Bruce Willis, the first thing that comes to mind is probably Alan Rickman from Die Hard. However, Taylor Negron did not disappoint as the prime antagonist in The Last Boy Scout. Seldom do we talk about the secondary antagonist in a movie, but here we must. Here he plays the right-hand man to Sheldon Marconi, the notorious crook. He certainly isn't of the traditional hard-bodied heroes and villains you're used to seeing, but he more than makes up for it with his ruthlessness. He lifts the action quotient in this movie with his character, who is an unstoppable killing machine. This sadistic killer aces some kick-ass dialogues that show the insights of the unpleasant personality of this villain. There are some unforgettable scenes, such as when Joe fights Milo on top of the stadium's lighting platform. We also can't get over the gruesome end of the maniac when he falls off the platform straight into the rotor blades of a helicopter that purees him.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Hans Gruber, Die Hard, Alan Rickman. John McClane is an NYPD officer who goes to visit his wife in Los Angeles for Christmas. She works in the Nakatomi Corporation, and during his visit, a gang of robbers led by Hans Gruber takes them hostage. They're planning a lucrative heist, but John takes matters into his own hands. He must battle it out with the thugs as they take over the high-rise. Can he rescue the hostages and bring Hans Gruber to justice? Die Hard is very close to the hearts of action fans, and it wouldn't have been possible without one of the most ruthless villains you will find in cinematic history, Hans Gruber. Alan Rickman was just the right guy for the role of this baddie, who would pose a serious threat to Bruce Willis. This conniving villain is a cultured and classy evil man, and even in the worst of his acts, he is graceful. We can't seem to get enough of his dialogue delivery and his spirited attitude even when his plan seems to be foiled. The man is a master of tactics and strategy as he plans a $640 million heist from Nakatomi Plaza. He plans the heist meticulously while distracting the police to make it look like a terrorist attack. It is his misfortune that he runs into the gallant officer John. The bad guy in an action movie is glorified by his wonderful ending. And in this case, Hans Gruber has a noble defeat that commands respect. Mad Dog, The Raid, YAYANRUHIAN. The movie is premised in Indonesia, where Lieutenant Wahyu plans to raid a building that is a safe house to the local mafia. However, the mission goes terribly wrong when the SWAT team gets trapped on the 7th floor of the building. Now they must battle it out with their limited ammunition against the might of the drug lord Tama and his gang. Tama offers a huge prize in exchange for the heads of the cops, and things soon get bloody. His right-hand man is a psychopathic criminal named Mad Dog, who will prove to be quite a handful for the police. This is yet another instance of the right-hand man or the accomplice stealing the show from the main villain. Mad Dog is the heart of the majority of adrenaline-pumping scenes in this movie. With his breathtaking agility and brute strength, he is quite a handful, even without any weapons. There's something exciting about the baddies who are uncontrollable maniacs, and Mad Dog provides the audience with just that for this movie. For much of the film, he's hidden and shown to be waiting in Tama's room, but once he is dispatched to kill a rookie cop, we see him unleash his violence. YAYANRUHIAN manages to capture the essence of this character and does a fine job of being a dangerous criminal. Do not miss out on his hand-to-hand combat sequences in this movie.
No. 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 Done.
Owen DAVIAN, Mission Impossible 3, Philip Seymour Hoffman. The remarkable IMF agent Ethan Hunt thinks that he can put his life of violence behind him and start living peacefully with his wife. However, he's brought back from retirement to rescue one of the agents whom he had trained. A dreaded arms dealer named Owen DAVIAN kidnaps Ethan's wife, and now he must be at his best to rescue her from the clutches of this formidable criminal. Mission Impossible is all about the gallant hero Tom Cruise, but in this outing of the franchise, he meets his match in the character of Owen DAVIAN, played by the late actor Philip Seymour Hoffman. He proved to the world that it doesn't necessarily require a muscular build to portray a villain. His attitude speaks for itself, and besides his great intelligence, he also has a heart of stone that showed no remorse for his deeds. There's a sadistic touch to this character, which is visible in the moments where he derives joy from causing pain to others. There are some unforgettable lines of the character, especially in the scene where Ethan arrests him, and even in captivity, he threatens to get his revenge. He's often regarded by the fans as one of the toughest foes that Ethan had to deal with, and after watching his performance, we cannot disagree.
God, Nola.
No, I disgust you.
NOLA CARVETH, The Brood, Samantha EGGAR. Frank is concerned about the kind of treatment his ex-wife is receiving under an unconventional psychologist, Dr. Hal Raglan. His troubled ex-wife Nola seems to have transformed into a violent, maniacal version of herself. Frank knows something is seriously wrong when their daughter comes back from her visit to her mother with bruises and injuries. Also, some brutal murders are taking place, and there just might be something about Nola to connect her to all these incidents. The Brood happens to be a very special film for David Cronenberg, because he, too, went through a similar messy divorce with his then-wife. He puts in his anger and frustration in this well-made, violent psychological movie. His efforts have been complemented by the amazing performance of Samantha EGGAR, who played the role of Nola. The crazed woman she plays on screen is no piece of cake, and credit is due for her brilliant effort. There's something uncanny about Nola besides her rage, especially with her giving birth to child-sized creatures that kill those she's upset with. She wields a psychic influence over these creatures, and you will be shocked out of your wits when the final confrontation takes place between Nola and her estranged husband. Such was the violence and brutality of the scene that many countries censored parts of it before allowing the screening. Cyrus the Virus, Con Air, John Malkovich. Cameron is a decorated U.S. Ranger who comes to visit his wife in Alabama. During an encounter with a few drunken regulars at the bar, he accidentally kills one of them and is sentenced to prison. When he's eligible for parole, he flies in a plane alongside some dreaded criminals led by CYRUS, and they are planning to take control of the plane and escape the country. Cameron must stop their plans, and he has the support of the U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin. In this fun-filled, action-packed movie, Cyrus the Virus adds some spark to the plot. He is the leader of the group of criminals who have hatched the unique escape plan. This psychopathic criminal was portrayed by none other than the talented John Malkovich, who did a commendable job in the role. Cyrus has a dreadful criminal record where he murdered 11 inmates, instigated riots, and even tried to escape twice. During the flight, he teams up with a drug lord to execute his master plan. He is cunning and cruel and doesn't hesitate to kill children if required. However, his downfall is brought about when he threatens to hurt Cameron's little daughter, and an enraged Cameron finishes him off. The scene stands as one of the most satisfying villain deaths that you will ever witness. Nevertheless, for the entire length of the movie, this relentless baddie awed the audience with his viciousness and evil mind. Norman Stansfield, Leon the Professional, Gary Oldman. Leon is a professional assassin who develops an emotional attachment with a 12-year-old girl, Matilda, and wants to protect her at all costs. Her family is murdered, and she too is the target of a gang. Norman Stansfield is the leader of the pack looking to prey on the innocent 12-year-old. Can Leon provide her safety and help her exact revenge on those who destroyed her family? Norman Stansfield is a nihilistic, corrupt official who happens to be a DEA agent and a drug lord at the same time. He has absolutely no compassion and has the cunning brains that have an uncanny ability to detect lies. Norman has a curious style of work and leaves no evidence behind for his crimes. He doesn't bat an eyelid while killing off entire families to ensure the smooth running of his business. There are some epic action sequences and exciting shootouts during the confrontations with Leon. Eventually, Leon is shot by Norman, but Leon manages to trigger an explosion of grenades that detonate him in seconds. A fitting end, you would say, to this vile character who almost gets on your nerves in the course of this movie. Gary Oldman brings together all his acting skills to get this one right, and left no string undone while playing the role. You might loathe the character, but remember, that is precisely the success of a villain.
Don't you fucking look at me!
Frank Booth, Blue Velvet, Dennis Hopper. A college student, Jeffrey, returns to his hometown to manage his family business after his father is hospitalized. One day, while walking through the grassy meadows nearby, he finds a severed human ear and brings the matter to the attention of the lead police detective. Curiosity gets the better of him, and he soon delves deep into the matter. As his accomplice, he has the detective's daughter, and together they soon discover that all roads lead to a violent, evil man named Frank Booth. The character of Frank Booth adds color and spice to Blue Velvet. He is a psychotic criminal who deals in drugs and prostitution. He gets his rivals murdered brutally and uses the services of a corrupt detective to steal the drugs from them. He has a toxic, forced relationship with a beautiful singer at a local nightclub and torments her for sexual favors. The scenes of torture are a bit too graphic, and you will have nightmares of how Frank treated the singer. This sadistic villain kills people on a whim and even drugs himself during these brutal moments. But his craziness aside, his shrewd mind ran the business successfully. You will almost cheer at his demise when he is shot by Jeffrey in the end. The late actor Dennis Hopper was cast for this role, and fans have loved how he went under the skin of the character despite the challenges.
Rocket launcher, arrow launcher, with explosion of poisonous gas head. Very practical.
Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, The Fifth Element, Gary Oldman. Set in a futuristic world, the movie tells the story of a cab driver who unknowingly becomes a part of a mission to save the world. The fifth element comes to Earth every 5,000 years to protect humankind. But this time, the evil Mangalores destroy the spaceship that was bringing them. Scientists create the perfect being called Lilu, but she manages to escape, and the taxi driver who was formerly a commando protects her from the evil forces led by the cruel Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel ZORG. The fifth element is praised for being a wonderful sci-fi action flick. And one of the reasons why fans like it is the sinister villain, Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel ZORG. He works for the ultimate evil, and the casting couldn't have been more perfect with Gary Oldman roped in to play the role. He's already featured on our list for playing Norman Stansfield in Leon, and he's also stunned the fans with his work as Count Dracula. He does not disappoint and pulls off the role of this evil weapons dealer. He takes pleasure in genocide and does pretty much everything to get his goals accomplished. He also seems to be obsessed with technology, and his office is quite a sight with all the cool gadgets. The absurd hairstyle and strange accent also go perfectly with the swagger-filled portrayal of Gary Oldman that makes for an appearance that you would remember for times to come.
Game over!
BISON, Street Fighter the movie. RAUL, Julia. The country of Shadaloo is under the iron rule of BISON, the general who aspires to rule over the world. Colonel William Guile leads an army into the country to track down BISON and spoil his plans. Bison has held several people hostage and threatens to kill them. Colonel Guile has his work cut out for him as he must contain this crazy dictator before it's too late. This movie was somewhat of an adaptation of the Street Fighter beat-em-up game series. There are various opinions that seem to trash the movie, but the performance of the late Raul Julia as the super powerful villain holds a special place in our hearts. It is all the more touching because, even in the course of filming this movie, he was suffering from stomach cancer, but still managed to put in his best for the role. He plays the role of BISON, a crazy military dictator who has plans of ruling over the world. He is a real threat to world peace as he keeps kidnapping relief workers and disrupting normalcy. Bison flies around in the electromagnetic suit that also allows him to shoot lightning. He is one of those fun-to-watch villains and probably a welcome change from some of the rather disturbing baddies in our list.
So what's it to you, butthead? You know, you've been looking for a...
Biff Tannen, Back to the Future, Thomas F. Wilson. Marty McFly is a typical 17-year-old student whose life is getting tougher by the day. His father is bullied by his supervisor at work, named Biff Tannen, and his mother is a raging alcoholic. Marty accidentally travels back in time to 1955 and meets his parents when they were teenagers. Unfortunately, he gets in the way of them meeting, and now he must make sure that they fall in love because otherwise he will cease to exist in the present world. You might be a little surprised at the last entry on our list. Well, we just wanted to lighten the mood before we sign off. In this light-hearted, fun-filled movie, Biff Tannen is the only speck of bad. Our villain here is a power-hungry abuser who enjoys bullying people. He's in love with Lorraine McFly, Marty's mother, and has plans of marrying her forcibly. Thomas F. Wilson gifted us with one of his better performances and picked up the mannerisms to convey the horrible nature of this vile man. His natural charisma, dialogue delivery, and raw energy bodes well for the role. The movie is a laugh riot, and if you find yourself bothered with all of our serious entries, this is a go-to. So go and have some fun.
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.